Hi, I'm Scott Malbassa with Coordinate Wealth Partners, and I'm recording this video because if you're an employee of Nike who receives equity compensation, so compensation in the form of stock or stock options or other securities, then you have a decision to make in the coming weeks of whether to accept that compensation as RSUs, as options, or a 50-50 split of each. And I'm going to record two videos here. This first one, I'm going to talk about the difference between RSUs and stock options. And then I'm going to record a second one to talk about what should influence your decision of what to choose. All right, so quickly, let's talk about the difference between RSUs and stock options. So first, RSUs. RSU stands for restricted stock units. And literally what you're getting when you're getting RSUs is shares of Nike stock, right? So you're granted, let's say you're granted 20 shares of RSUs or 20 RSUs. Those are going to vest quarterly over the next 4 years. So you'll be getting about 5 shares a year. There are some exceptions to that vesting schedule, but generally that's how it works. Every time that those RSUs vest, right, you're actually granted Nike stock that you can then do what you want with, right? You can choose to hold that. You can choose to sell it immediately. The other important thing to note with the RSUs is that when they vest, you are taxed on the value of that vesting amount. If you receive 1 share of Nike stock and the value of Nike stock when you receive that share is $125, you're going to be taxed on $125 of income, right? And it's important to note that it's seen as income. There's some confusion there on what gets taxed as capital gains and what gets taxed as income, but that is income from Nike, right? That $125 share would be income. So, when you're granted RSUs, you know that when those RSUs vest, whatever the value of Nike stock is at the time of that vesting is going to be the value of what you're getting, and it's going to be the value of what you're going to be taxed on. Okay. Option, on the other hand, is different, right? An option gives you the option, that's why they're called options, to purchase Nike stock at a given price. So let's say you're granted the option to purchase Nike stock at $125. You're only going to exercise that option, right, if Nike stock is higher than $125, because what you would do is purchase the stock for $125 and then sell it if it vests at $130. Sell it and make $5 on the difference, right? The reason you wouldn't, if it was less than $125, is because you wouldn't purchase something for $125. It was only worth $120, right? If you wanted shares of Nike stock, you would just go purchase it for $120. That was the price at the time. So it's really important to note, right, that there's a risk factor there, right? There's a great potential reward that as Nike stock goes up, there's a greater potential for more income to be had, right? But there's also this risk that your options may not be worth anything in the future. Okay? The other important thing to note is that the tax difference. Like I said, with the RSUs, so the restricted stock units, you're taxed when they vest on that amount. With the stock options, you're not going to be taxed until you actually exercise that option. And then you're going to be taxed on what the value of it is when that happens, right? So again, if the price that you were granted the option at is $125 and you purchase for $130, and the stock price is $130 when you exercise the option, that $5 difference is what you're going to be taxed on. So because you have the ability to exercise it, at your discretion for a period of time, you have more ability to realize those taxes at different times, right? So there's a little bit more tax flexibility there with options. So 2 big things to note, again, is the difference when it comes to risk, right? Options are going to be the riskier option, for lack of a better word, and then taxes, right? You're going to have a little bit more flexibility from a tax perspective with the options than you will with the RSUs. All right, in the next video, like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about what should influence your decision to take the RSUs or the stock options.